Cabinet grants approval to allocate 500 million rupees to fight COVID-19. Acceptance of nominations for the general election concluded. Rallies and parades prohibited. Chinese health authorities say no COVID-19 new infections reported from Wuhan for the past 24 hours. Well, good afternoon to you. You're watching Lunch Prime Time News. Now, you heard a short while ago the time frame allocated to hand in nominations to contest at the upcoming general election, which will be held on the 25th of April, concluded at 12 midnight. The submission of nominations, a lot of parties came in to hand in their nominations in locations island-wide. The Samagi Jana Balawege handed over its nominations for the Colombo district today under the patronage of its leader, Sajith Premadasa. The United National Party handed over its nominations for the Colombo district this morning under the patronage of the assistant leader of the party, Ravi Karunanayaka. The Frontline Socialist Party also decided to field a list to contest the elections from the Colombo district, and its Politburo member Pudu Jayaguda handed over the nomination papers today. Leader of the JVP, Andrukumara Disanayaka, has handed over nominations for the Colombo district to contest under the Jatika Jana Balawege. Following the handing over of nominations, the leader of the JVP had this to say. This is a crucial time for our country. Nominations are being handed over at such a time. Nominations are being handed over because it is something that needs to be done legally. We are handing these nominations only because of the legality. We hope that the Elections Commission will take a firm decision regarding the elections after 12 noon. While that was the situation in the Colombo district, several other places too saw politicians, candidates coming in and handing over their nominations to contest at the upcoming general election. This was the Sri Lanka Freedom Party handing over their nominations for the Kalutara district. Journalist Sripal Vanyarachi also signed the nomination papers yesterday.
After our victory, we will provide the fullest support to the President to form the two-thirds majority and in all aspects in Parliament. I have 20 years of experience seeing many politicians serving in Parliament. Also, I have seen politicians using the general public's money to get luxurious vehicles. I realize that Sri Lanka Freedom Party is the best platform to fulfill the true need of the people. Whereas some were afraid of us, that's why as a journalist I accepted this challenge.
That was the situation in Colombo and Kalutara. Now let me take you to Gampaha. Several political parties handed over the nominations for the Gampaha district this morning. SLPP nomination papers handed over by Prasanna Ranatunga. Edward Gunasekara handed over the nomination paper of the Samagi Jana Balawege. You're witnessing visuals of the Gampaha district. Several political parties handed over their nominations today. As mentioned, SLPP nomination papers handed over by Prasanna Ranatunga, and Edward Gunasekara handed over the nomination paper of the Samagi Jana Balawege. Shifting your attention to the North Central Province, the Anuradhapura district nomination papers were handed over this morning. Samagi Jana Balawege nomination papers handed over by Chandrani Bandara, and SM Chandrasena handed over the nomination papers for the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna for the Anuradhapura district. Katsuri Anuradhanayaka handed over the nominations for the United National Party contesting in the Anuradhapura district. Meanwhile, the Janasatha Peramuna also handed over their nominations for the Anuradhapura district to contest at the upcoming election. We saw the North Central Province, the Anuradhapura district as well. Now let me bring your attention back to Kurunegala. A lot of attention is on the Kurunegala district as well. The nomination papers, of course, were handed in. The Sri Lanka People's, United People's Freedom Alliance, UPFA, handed over its nomination papers for the Kurunegala district this morning under the patronage of the district leader, Johnston Fernando. This was, of course, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peremuna's list that was handed over by Johnston Fernando this morning. Former parliamentarian Ashoka Besinga handed over his nomination papers on behalf of the Samagi Jana Bala Vegya, led by Sajith Premadasa. The UNP General Secretary Akila Viraj Karivasam, who is also contesting, handed over nominations for the Kurunegala district from the United National Party. Venerable Bhatramule Siraratnatheva handed over nominations today in the Kurunegala district for the Janaseta Peramuna to contest at the upcoming general election. Very quickly, let me remind you that the time frame allocated for handing in nominations for the upcoming general election concluded at 12 noon today, and there has been a time frame allocated to file in objections for these nominations, and that time frame will conclude at 1:30 p.m. So 1.5 hours has been allocated by the National Elections Commission with regard to filing in objections for this election and the nominations that were handed in. We looked at several districts where the nomination papers were handed in before the deadline. Now we are going to take a look at the nomination papers that were handed in the Kandy district. That was the situation in the Kandy district. Now let me take you towards the Puttlam district. The nomination papers for the Samagi Jana Bala Vegya was handed over by district leader Niroshan Pereira. The Ape Jana Bala Vegya also handed over nominations for the general election today to contest the upcoming election from the Puttlam district. Now let me take your attention to the southern province, the Mathura district, where nominations were handed in. Group leader Mangala Samaravira handed over nomination papers for the Samagi Jana Balavegya for the Mathura district, again for the general election on the 25th of April. Candidate Buddhika Patirana was also present at this location. The United National Party, a group leader, is a person by the name of Gayan Sanjeeva. He handed over nominations for the Mathura district to contest at the upcoming general election on the 25th of April. Again, in the southern province, the Hambantota district, Dilip Vedarachi handed over the nominations for the Hambantota district this morning from the Samagi Jana Balavegya, and Ravindra Mudalige handed over nominations for the Frontline Socialist Party, also for the Hambantota district, to contest at the upcoming election. There was two electoral districts in the southern province. Again, let me shift your attention to the north central and the central provinces. Sydney Jayaratna handed over his nomination papers for the Polonnaruwa district from the Samagi Jana Balavegya. Now we are looking at the Polonnaruwa district. Nominations were handed over on behalf of the Frontline Socialist Party by R.K. Indrananda, and Nalaka Kolonne submitted nominations on behalf of the United National Party, also for the Polonnaruwa district, to contest the general election on the 25th of April. Mr. Palani Digambaram handed over nominations for the Nuwara district from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya led by Sajith Premadasa, and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party too handed in nominations for the Nuwara district today. Taking a look at the Kegol district, again another area where a lot of attention is drawn. Kabir Hashim handed over his nomination papers representing the Samagi Jana Balawegaya for the Kegol district. Of course, the Samagi Jana Balawegaya is led by Sajith Premadasa. Sandit Samarasinghe submitted nomination papers on behalf of the United National Party for the Kegol district. Priyantha Ranjit Kumara handed over nominations for the Frontline Socialist Party, and the Aped Jana Bala Paksha also handed in nominations for this Kegol district to contest the general election on the 25th of April. Now we are bringing you the details of the nomination handing in from several important districts around the country, where of course the nominations were concluded at 12 noon a short while ago, and the time frame to put in or bring in objections for these nominations will also conclude at 1:30 p.m. today, according to the National Election Commission. We looked at several districts, as I mentioned earlier. Now I shift your attention to the Galle district, another important area where people are looking at as to who will be contesting. We have that information for you. Dayantha Karunathilaka handed over his nomination papers from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya for the Galle district, and Sajindi Vas Gunawardena submitted nominations on behalf of the National Democratic Front. This is for the Galle district. Thalatha Athukorla submitted her nomination papers for the Ratnapura district from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya led by Sajith Premadasa. UNP handed in its nominations today, and Sihaladeepa National Front and two independent groups also handed over their nominations for the Ratnapura district. Now we have to shift your attention from the nomination handing-ins to the current situation in the country with regard to COVID-19 and the updates in that department. We have Muad Rasik standing by at the main studio to bring you the details of these stories.
Thank you very much, Chaturanga, for that update on the current nomination situation. Now taking a look at some news here at home. Foreign Secretary Ravinatha Arya Singh has requested foreign governments to facilitate the appropriate extension of visas for Sri Lankans currently visiting their countries and facing difficulty to return to Sri Lanka on account of the travel bans that have and will become applicable as part of the control measures on COVID-19. Foreign Secretary Arya Singh made the request when he addressed a group of ambassadors from Western Hemisphere yesterday. Now in more local news, police curfew that was imposed at 4:30 p.m. last evening for police divisions of Puttlam, Chilau and the police jurisdiction area of Nigambu Kuchikade police station was lifted at 8 this morning. Police media spokesperson Jalia Sinaratna said the curfew will be reimposed to the said police divisions at 2 this afternoon. The curfew was imposed yesterday evening in a bid to assist the containment efforts of COVID-19. Accordingly, in the Puttlam Police Division, the curfew will be again in effect from 2 this afternoon in Puttlam, Kalpitiya, Karuvalagaswava, Moondalama, Navagattegama, Pallama, Vanathavilluwa, Udappuwa, Norachole and Saliyewava. In the Chilau Police Division, the curfew will be in effect in Chilau, Dankotuwa, Koswatta, Madampe, Maravila, Vennapuwa and Arachikattuwa. The police headquarters said the curfew will also be in effect in the Negombo Kochikade police jurisdiction area from 2 p.m. today.
The Colombo Stock Exchange remained closed for the fourth straight day today. Issuing a press release, the Colombo Stock Exchange said the decision was made following a request of the Securities and Exchange Commission and taking into consideration the steps taken by the government to minimize public interactions, curbing the spread of the COVID-19. Still in news at home, cabinet approval was granted to allocate a sum of 500 million rupees to combat COVID-19. The decision was taken following a agreement reached by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to allocate funds in order to minimize the negative impact on the economy due to coronavirus outbreak.
Core Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandulu Gunawardena said the Treasury Secretary was vested with the powers to spend the funds from the consolidated fund. Cabinet has decided to maintain the current market prices of fuel for a period of 1 year. Minister Gunawardena also said the Cabinet approval was granted to allocate 10 billion rupees to settle the due payments to the medical suppliers for the year 2019. According to Minister Bandulu Gunawardena, a 6-month loan repayment grace period will be allocated for tourism, textile and trading industries affected by COVID-19.
Dr. Sita Arambipula has stepped down as the governor of the Western Province. When Newsfirst inquired, Dr. Arambipula said the decision to resign was made as she was named the Sri Lanka Pudujana Perumuna national list. Dr. Arambipula was first appointed as the governor of the Western Province on the 25th of November last year. Now here are the views expressed by the leader of the National Samagi Front, Azad Sali.
What is the state of the common man today? How will they live? Is the government going to feed them? There is a huge issue now. It has come to a state where the people have to beg for food in the streets. All the supermarkets are empty. The government must declare a state of emergency and provide the people with essential food items at least for a week, similar to the process followed during the floods. They are given 6-month loan concessions for the rich, whereas the poor people are left without a pack of rice or dry rations. The government must create systems where the common man can eat their meals at home by getting dry rations for cooperative shops. In such a backdrop, the relevant authorities are worried about the elections and the two-third majorities. This is utter nonsense. Isn't this a country and aren't there people here? Did 6.9 million people cast their vote to just kill themselves? There is no food. Please provide food for the needy.
Those are the views expressed by the leader of the National Unity Alliance, Azad Sali. In news overseas, that for the first time in over 2 months, the Chinese city of Wuhan reported no new cases of coronavirus. The city of Wuhan was first declared. Lunchtime news on TV1. Stay safe and take care.